you very much, Gurvir. So that hands the reins over to myself. My name is Terry. I'm from Shipleys LLP, a partner, and I predominantly relate and work in the creative industry sector, which includes both film and TV tax credits, as alongside VGTR, which is what the discussion was today. So I'm just going to go through who and how, now that Gurvir has gone through the what and why. So in regards to who, it's a production company, and it relates to work conducted within both pre-production, design, production, testing, and the delivery. And only one company can make a claim for VGTR. So which, when we have co-produced work, it's only one company that can make the actual claim. So if there's 40% of someone contributing, 40% and 20%, what we say as a firm, and it's not just where it's co-production, but in all sense and purposes for video games tax relief, we always say that there should be a special purpose vehicle, or an SPV as I will call it from now on, that the production of the game goes through. It makes everything tidier and easier to make the claim in. Equally, it gives us some flexibility with regards to making multiple applications by shortening that accounting period, which I will go on to describe in more depth later. However, shortening the accounting period can help cash flow in future. Within the work can be subcontracted, so it doesn't have to all be within the SPV, but there is a £1 million cap that you should be made aware of. So firstly, it's got to be British, and it's got to be intended for release to the general public, which includes also internet games. I'll go back to the word here in regards to intended. So there's got to be an intention to release the game. So it doesn't mean it has to be released. You have to show intention. So even on, if things change in the marketplace and a game has been produced but not actually released, then you can still go for the VGTR claim. The minimum UK and /EEA core spend is 25%, which is different compared to other creative industry tax reliefs. For instance, film and TV is 10%. The difference being that the VGTR side includes EEA, so European. It must pass a cultural test, which I will discuss in greater depth further on in my thing. It must be subject to, the company that you're claiming in must be subject to UK corporation tax, so UK based. And a big thing is that a game cannot be for advertising, promotion, or gambling purpose. Obviously, you can have games like that, but you will fall foul and not be able to claim any tax relief. The cultural test, as I alluded to earlier. So there's 4 sections. The first one being cultural content. So this is where the setting is, the people involved, the characters, the subject, the dialogue, is it in English, and you can get 16 points for that. In total, I think there's 35, sorry. 35 points, and you need to claim 16 or above. So if we go down those, the section B is cultural contribution. Does it show British creativity? Does it talk about heritage, diversity, which is big now, and rightly so, but does it include BAME characters? Is there gay rights, etc.? Section C, cultural hubs. Where was it basically? Development facilities, design and audio. Is that in the UK /EEA? And then personnel, where are these people from? Are they European? Are they English or British? But as you can see from here, the majority of those targets can be done in the first section, and that's what we found at Shipleys, is that the majority of them do tick many of those boxes, but they can claim it. And then equally, probably the other easier section from that is section D, where the personnel from. as I say, you've got to get 16 or above to qualify. The cultural test is administered by the British film industry, the BFI, and then interim application is possible, but confirmed at final stage when the production of the game is complete. Letter of comforts can be obtained by the BFI if required by financiers, which we've seen previously. How? So there's two forms really. Firstly, the certification that we've just gone through, which comes from the BFI, and then you get the relief from HMRC. You need to do point 1 before you could do point 2, in so much that you need the certification before we submit the tax return to HMRC. It's appended onto the tax return and computation, so they're fully aware that you've ticked the box that you've got a BFI certification. So the certificates, there's an interim certificate which is done before or during production, and they last for up to 3 years, which in the normal time frame of a game is sufficient in our experience. And then you get the final certificate, which is obviously after completion, and we usually see that on the delivery to the developer. So how do you get the relief? So it's all administrated through the company statutory accounts and the corporation tax return. We're pretty blessed at Shipleys in so much that we are one of the leading accountants in the creative tax industries, and in so much the same team at HM Revenue and Customs are the same people that deal with animation, film and television tax credit, and the VGTR. So whatever way you look at it, be that fortunately or unfortunately, we do know them by their first name. So we're on good working relationship with them. At the end of the day, we try and make their job easier by laying that all out in an easy format that they can check, do their tests, and ensure that you get your money on a timely basis. With regards to the money and perversely, what with the current climate of COVID, we have seen recently that money has been paid out a lot quicker than what I have in these slides, which I think I've alluded to as 28 days. In the last few months, we've probably seen that to 14 to 21. Like anything, if you're working from home, you tend to do it a little bit quicker. But that I don't know if that will change when we go to the post-COVID or the hopefully very soon normal way of life. So that's how you get the relief. The certification process with the BFI is very good actually. So it's application all online. It's you process it and your issuing is of no charge, so there's no cost to the company. Time frame, you're looking at 4 to 5 weeks, and if you just put into the Google search engine BFI certification unit, then it comes out, and it's relatively we don't have to do that as accountants or auditors, but it's relatively straightforward for companies to do. Excuse me. On other considerations, when you're looking at the VGTR world, is time of expenditure and deferrals. As I've alluded to, the SPV structure gives you flexibility on your year ends and when you make the claim. So when you're looking at expenditure, you should be looking at when it's been made, when you can claim for it, and hopefully you can use that to increase your tax relief so it factors in for your cash flow. Point 2 with regards to this is also within the SPV structure, is that production fee, overheads and recharges. So if you're a standalone company, you can't do those. However, if you're in a group structure where you've got a SPV, you can therefore charge overheads and production fee from the top co into the SPV. I must stress that this should be at market rate and obviously fully auditable for both ourselves and, well, not ourselves, but for any accountants, auditors / the HMRC. But that is a good way to maximise your relief. We've talked about when you get the money, interim applications, they are good for financial plan, and they can be paid direct to any financier or any other anyone who has put a hold on the money. They can be paid directly to them. Doesn't have to hit the SPV or your company, which gives the financier some sort of comfort. Point 5, probably a little bit selfish on us auditors and accountants' perspective, is in so much that, you know, the information you put into your system is, you know, so how good the information comes out, and a solid and really good production accountant is really beneficial for the smooth process of putting in a VGTR claim. You know, if it's fully auditable, if everything reconciles, you know, you can get that money in a lot quicker than trying to piecemeal it together. And then furthermore, enhancements to any games, I think I think that gets looked up over, and could give rise to future claims. So these are some other considerations that hopefully help your cash flow in the future, and, you know, to think about when producing games. How can accountants help? Very good question. So apart from talking about the structural advice that we've just talked about with the SPV, you can obtain opinion letters for both banks and tax credit lenders. Or the audit application of the BFI, we can, you know, handheld or do that. Then the standard stuff that you expect that your accountant should do, you know, preparation of your stat accounts, preparation and submission of your tax returns, which is by default getting your VGTR claim, and then, as I say, dealing with the inspectors. You know, it's not nice for business owners to deal directly with HMIs being inspectors. You know, they get a bad press, some rightly so, but you know, with our experience, you know, they are human and they do want the best for, you know, the best for both themselves and for us. So we try and work in a tidy manner in order to get that over the line. When we do those opinion letters for any bank or lenders, it's pretty much everything you need to send to the BFI, with exception of the finance plan. So I'm not going to go through the list on the PDF, on the PowerPoint. However, you know, it might seem a lot of information. I think it goes over two slides. However, you'd already have that information in place, as I say, with the exception of the finance plan for the BFI. So, you know, you could kill two birds with one stone there. Well, thank you very much. It's pretty whirlwind discussion with it, and as you can appreciate, we could talk about this for a lot longer than the 30 minutes allotted. However, that's a little bit of a snippet of considerations you need to think about. Myself and Gurvir will be around at lunch, and equally, if you do have any questions now or want a copy of the PowerPoint slides, then please do give us a call. We're very happy to be part of Ukie. You know, it's a huge market, the video games market, and especially in the current climate where, you know, things are going to be tight and they're not going to go according to plan. I think it's a relief that I don't think is maximised to its full potential by video game developers, and it's, you know, it's trying to get it out there that it is, you know, we've all had our, to a certain extent, half-price chicken at Nando's from these government giveaways. So, you know, it is a tax relief that, you know, if done properly, you're entitled to. And I think, you know, it's getting the word out there that this could really help cash flow for any business going forward. So please do give us a call. With, you know, my email or phone is always open to any questions. So I look forward to speaking to you at lunch, and thank you very much for listening to both myself and Gurvir.